Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm really excited because I have made something I never thought I'd be able to make before, and that is a recreation of an actual person. So for this series, I have decided that we are going to recreate a YouTuber, and that YouTuber is none other than Bernadette Banner. I'm so excited about this custom. I worked really hard on it. It's the first real human I've ever created to be more realistic, and I really like how she turned out. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please don't forget to leave me comments down below on things you think I should fix or things you want to see. What the next YouTuber that should be in my series. Anything goes, as long as it's nice in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm excited to make more content and share it with you guys, and give it a like if you like this video, and let's get started. For this custom, I actually found a doll that had the perfect face mold. The only issue was her body was not something I could work with, so I had two options I wanted to try, either a Monster High body or a Barbie Made to Move body. To start the process, I took off everyone's head by first making the head soft by sticking them all into boiling water. When the heads were nice and soft, I could pull them out without damaging the neck peg. Then I had to decide which body to use. In the end, I decided on the Barbie Made to Move body. To further prepare the doll, I cut off all of the hair, removed all the factory paint with 100% acetone. While we watch the face up, I'm going to do a little story time. I was having a hard time finding inspiration for my next doll custom. I was putting away dolls from a doll haul, and I noticed the undressed Leia. Let's pause here. I know this hobby is so weird, but hear me out. The doll looked exactly like Bernadette Banner. Make sure I was not crazy, I brought up a picture of Bernadette on Instagram and put the Leia doll right next to it and showed it to my 10-year-old. I asked her if it looked similar, and her response was, "They aren't the same." I don't know how excited Bernadette Banner is that she looks exactly like Princess Leia in doll form, but I was pretty stoked. This was all I needed. My biggest trepidation about this doll was that everything about it is way out of my comfort zone. I've never worked on a head this small, I've never tried to make a doll look realistic, and I've never tried to sew a late Victorian walking skirt. To be honest, this whole thing was terrifying, but this is the growth that I like. Now, back to the face up. I used photo reference from Instagram. All the pictures, she wears very subtle or no makeup at all. This again is very out of my comfort zone. So for the face up, I used the most natural pencils and pastels for my palette. pause for 1 second to take a look at that eye. When I was coloring in after my first round of Mr. Super Clear, I completely messed it up. So I went ahead and did the rest of the face up for this layer, and then after I resealed it with Mr. Super Clear, I went back in and fixed it. So I promise her eye doesn't look that creepy for the entire thing. In this custom, I used my eraser so much. Again, this whole thing is nothing I'm used to, so it took a lot of trial and error. I actually cut out a bunch of footage of me just erasing and going back and erasing and going back because it was just out of control. But again, I also feel like I grew so much doing this custom. It was everything. By this picture, her eye is fixed. It no longer looks like a creepy, weird eye situation. So when in doubt, take a deep breath, do everything else that you need to do, and then reset. had to make yarn wefts. This is a process where I cut 100% acrylic yarn and tie it around a wooden dowel. To keep the length, I untwist each strand. All the strands are untwisted, I take a metal pet brush, which I bought specifically for weft making. I brush out all of the strands. After the strands are brushed, I take a hair straightener and I press all the fibers. The result is a pretty silky strands of yarn that look like hair. Take Elmer's glue and stick the newly straightened strands onto a piece of plastic. The plastic I use is the paper covers that go inside of binders. I repeat this several times until the entire side is filled and then let it dry. While it's drying, it's time to draft a late Victorian walking skirt. Now again, I have no idea what I am doing. I went to Bernadette's YouTube channel to get tips and tricks and see what she did to make hers. I have linked that video in the description box below. I used the same instructions she did, but I heavily altered it. About the only thing I could translate to doll size was the shape. Everything else, I winged it. Now I'm not sure how many of you know Bernadette Banner's content, but if you don't, she is a costuber here on YouTube. She uses historical, original practice to recreate garments throughout history. She is incredibly talented and an all-around amazing person, and she has inspired me so much to make historical costumes for my dolls. Now again, Bernadette uses original practice to sew her garments, to be as historically accurate as possible. I, however, do not. Though I would love to, and I think it's fascinating, these clothes I make are very, very tiny. So I use a combination of machine sewing, hand sewing, and fabric gluing. I also use my hair straightener for more than making yarn wefts. I also use it as a dog clothes iron. I have to mention, this dress also needed a pocket. So I added a tiny pocket with some white cotton fabric scraps I had, or cabbage as they call it. Here I am adding trim to the skirt. It is very hard to hem a round skirt. I should have done it before I sewed all the pieces together, but Bernadette used a similar trim on her own skirt, so I decided to add this one with glue. And here is the completed skirt. Now for the shirt and cardigan, I used the same method. I purchased 2 patterns from the Requiem Art Designs on Etsy. She offers fabulous patterns for many different sized dolls, and I highly recommend her. For each article of clothing, I cut out the pattern pieces and then transfer them to my fabric. The fabric I chose for the cardigan was awful, by the way. It was some kind of jersey knit, and I hated every second of it. I had to hand sew most of it, which I dislike, but here we are. And here is her completed look. Now for the finishing touch, her hair. For her hair, I first looked up Bernadette's tutorial on how she styles her own hair. Since I was working with wefts, I had to plan out how to glue each weft. In the end, I needed to use a straight pin and some other witchery to get the hair to work, but in the end, I think I got it. And here she is. I have to tell you, I know there is so much that needs to be improved upon, but I am so proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone. If you could all do me a favor, a huge favor, I would love for Bernadette to see this. If you all could tag her in the comments below, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm hoping she will permit me to send her this tiny version of herself. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or ideas, please leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.